more serious when up to 20% of that 26 million people was kids aged 12 to 15. That's a big number for little kids to be using drugs. So here today, I'm here to talk to you a little bit about it. So today, we're going to talk about the background information and what adds up to the drug addiction. Then we're going to talk how it affects the person using the drugs. And then we're going to talk how it affects more than just the person using and affects the friends and the families. So I know what you guys are all thinking. Yeah. We've talked about this since we were in elementary school, middle school. Tell us not to do drugs. But the problem isn't dying down. The problem is only starting to get bigger as we get older. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about. So let's learn a little bit about your background information. There are tons of drugs that can fall into the drug abuse topic. Opiate addiction, which is like pills, is the second most common now, and it's on the rise. You can get a pill prescription from your doctor. Say you got in a car accident and hurt your back, your doctor can prescribe you pills, and then a person, once they get used to the pills taking away the pain, they become dependent on that pill, and then they can keep taking them and taking them. And this pill addiction is becoming very large among teenagers who have the ability to get pills whenever they want. And then there's harder drugs such as like heroin, meth, there's crack, and then those can lead to like psychosis, or you can have blackouts, you can have seizures. They raise your heart rate and raise your blood pressure. So it gets a little serious. And then there's drugs such as marijuana, which is on the rise for recreational use and is legal in some states and should be legal in other states. And then one of the top drugs is alcohol. And while some people don't see alcohol as a drug, it is a very important drug that, or not important, but it's a drug that affects a lot of lives, including my own. And then in this picture, you can see, I might be in the way, you guys, but like this picture is a mom and a daughter were on the way back from the daughter's dance recital. And someone that was drinking and driving ran into the back of the car and killed the 5-year-old little girl. So that's what alcohol can do to the body and can kill others, not just harm the person using. So now that we've talked about how it affects a person using, not only does it affect the person physically, as you can see, but it affects the person mentally. It just takes using a drug one time for someone to become dependent on the drug. And once you become dependent on the drug, it's hard for a person to become undependent on the drug. So these drugs can slow down your liver. When a person keeps using drugs over and over and over, the liver has to slow down. The liver's not able to process the amount of drugs that are being put through it. And then it can lead to liver failure, and it kills all the cells in the liver. And then here's another one. This person's on meth. And when you're on drugs, it affects not only like your liver, but it slows down the response time of your brain by almost 50%. So that person that was in the car accident, they didn't have near as enough time for them to stop as they would have if they were sober, because their brain is slowed down that much by the drugs. So now we're going to talk a little bit how it affects a person's family. Okay, so this video is the 4% of babies that are born in the U.S. that are born addicted to drugs such as heroin, meth, crack. And while this 4% is very small, almost 20% of mothers admitted that they have used drugs while they were pregnant. And I fall into this category. My mom was on drugs when I was born. So it's something I can identify with really well. And not only does it like affect the children physically, as you can see, but when a child has to grow up with a parent or that was addicted to drugs, it is hard on them mentally. And they are almost 50 times more likely to fall into their parents' footsteps. So it's hard for them. And as you can see in this picture, this little girl is awake at night as her parents are passed out from drugs. So it's a hard topic for me to talk about, but I don't know where it went. Anywho, oh yeah, okay. So some rehabilitations are the Phoenix House, which is around here in Council Bluffs, or in Omaha. And then there's the Omaha campus for Hope, which allows men and women and then their children that can help find help. And then something further away is the Cherokee Rehabilitation Center. This is where my mom has gone multiple times, and it's a very good program, and it's farther away. So say if someone down here needed help and needed to get away from like their friends and the families that they were hanging out with, this is a good place for them to go. So overall, we talk about how drugs not only affect the person using, but how it affects the family. And then we talk a little bit about the background information. So I hope that this presentation made you guys realize what drugs can do and will make you think about what percentage of the population you want to be in.